Biraz sonra YGA mezunu Asude Altıntaş ve eğitim alanında dünyaca tanınmış bir profesör olan Graus'un eğitim üzerine gerçekleştirecekleri çok keyifli bir sohbeti dinleyeceğiz. Asude, ODTÜ'de işletme okudu. Avrupa ve Hindistan'da sosyal sorumluluk projelerinde gönüllü olarak çalıştı. 2009 yılında YGA'ya katıldı. 3 yıl gönüllü olarak çalıştı. Mezuniyetinin ardından da Stanford Üniversitesi'nde sosyal girişimcilik programında burslu olarak kabul aldı. 5 yıl YGA başkanlığını yürüttü. YGA mezunu Cihan'la birlikte CNN Türk'te Bilin Deneyin adında bir program hayata geçirdiler. Daha çok çocuk bilimi sevsin diye. Aslı ile ben uzun dönem çalıştım. Bir gönüllü nasıl gönülden gönüllendirilir? Hiç durmadan insan kendisini daha iyisi için nasıl challenge eder? Sadece kendisini de değil, ekibini de. Herhangi bir hata korkusu olmadan nasıl inisiyatif alınır? Bugün burada mezun seansında da konuştuk. Aslında o hatalardan nasıl ders çıkarılır? Aslında benim bol bol tanık olmamı sağladı. YGA'da zamanını, enerjisini yönetenler dünya yönetir cümlesini çok seviyoruz. Aslı'nın sayesinde gönüllü olduğum zamandan itibaren hala onun kadar olamasam da bu konuda büyük adımlar attım. Umarım bu sohbette de sevgili hayal ortağımız Profesör Graus'la birlikte hepimizin yeni adımlar atmasına destek olacaklar. Aslı'cığım hoş geldin. Sahne sizin.
Bir kere bir düzeltmeyle başlayayım. Hata korkusu olmadan yanlış. Şu an bile hata yapmaktan korkuyorum. O yüzden Didemciğim onu bir düzeltebiliriz. Gece yolculuğu yapıp gelmiş olanlar var mı? Parmaklarını görebilir miyim? Neredeyse herkes. Yapmamış olanlar bir kaldırsa? Yarı yarıya mı diyebiliriz? Gece yolculuğu yapanlardan uykusu gelmiş olanlar. Tahmin edebiliyorum. Uykunuzun geldiğini tahmin ediyorum çünkü ben de 13 yıl önce Ankara'dan gece yolculuğuyla gelmiştim. Gece çok heyecanlanmıştım, uyuyamamıştım ama zirvede de uyuyamamıştım heyecandan. Ben de 13 yıl önce bu koltuklarda oturuyordum. Uykusu gelenlerden biraz daha böyle dayanmalarını rica edebiliriz çünkü çok keyifli bir konuşma gerçekleştireceğiz. Ondan önce ben kendimi kısaca bir tanıtmak istiyorum sizlere. Çünkü ben de bu koltuklarda dediğim gibi 13 yıl önce oturuyordum. Ve o zamanki Asude'yi hatırlamaya çalıştım. Nasıl bir ruh halindeydim diye. Aslında şöyleydi. ODTÜ'de okuyordum. Tam zirveden 10 ay önce babam vefat etmişti. O yüzden böyle hayatın amacını sorgulayan, ne yapmak istediğiyle ilgili epeyce kafası karışık bir durumdaydım. Hani belki bazılarınızın da hayatında böyle kaybolduğunu hissettiği bir dönem vardır. Ben öyle bir dönem yaşıyordum. Ve bugün, o gün burada otururken sanki uzunca bir süredir aradığım bir şeyi bulmuş gibi mutlu hissetmiştim. Sonra düşünmeye başladım. Yani neyi arıyordum da neyi buldum ve mutlu hissettim. Aslında aradığım şeylerden bir tanesi, belki o kurumsal şirketlerde, stajlarımda bulamadığım bir samimiyet. Gökhan'ı görmüştüm, Ceyda'yı, Melike'yi. Gerçekten ne kadar samimiyetle çalıştıklarını, YGA gönüllerini görmüştüm, ne kadar samimiyetle karşılamada, işte güler yüzle bize hizmet ettiklerini. Bir yandan da anlamlı ve etkili projeler arıyordum. Pek çok yerde bulamadığım. Ve yapılanları dinlemiştim ve onlar beni çok etkilemişti. Neydi? İşte kütüphaneler açılıyor, en son teknolojiyle donatılıyor, görme engelli teknolojileri geliştiriliyor, güneş enerjisi üzerine araştırma geliştirme yapılıyor. Gerçekten teknolojinin fayda için kullanılması beni ayrıca etkilemişti ve sonradan şunu fark ettim. Bu zirvelerin ortak bir özelliği var. Her sene bu hissi yaşıyorum artık. O da şimdi aramızdan bazıları YGA'da sorumluluk alacak. Bugün yolculuğuna YGA'da devam edecek. Bazılarımız başka organizasyonlarda görev alacak. Bazılarımız belki kendi organizasyonlarını hayata geçirecek, kendi projelerini hayata geçirecek ve hepimizin ortak bir özelliği var bugün buradan aldığımız. YGA zirveleri dünyayı daha güzelleştirmek için bir bakış açısını bize veriyor. Onu fark ediyorum. Sinan abi onu bakış aşısı olarak tanımladı. O da YGA bize sadece aklımızla değil, aklımızla ve kalbimizle birlikte düşünme anlayışını veriyor. Bence YGA zirvelerinin farkı bu. O yüzden bizler nereye gidersek gidelim, bugün bu aşıyı oluyoruz ve gittiğimiz yerlere de onu götüreceğiz. Ben YGA zirvesinden sonra yolculuğuma devam ettim. Bilim sahalarında gönüllü çalışmaya başladım. Türkiye'yi dolaşmak zaten çok güzel. Bir de hele güzel bir amaçla dolaşmak daha da güzeldi. İşte Adana, Van, Kars, Malatya, Iğdır herhalde gezmediğimiz il kalmamıştır. Her hafta sonu bir ile giderek oradaki çocuklarla bilim seansları yapıyorduk. O zamanki ismiyle Oku Düşün Paylaş, şimdiki ismiyle Bilim Seferberliği. Ve şimdi noktaları birleştirince fark ediyorum. O zaman o seanslarda kullanmak için ürettiğimiz en dezavantajlıya, en son teknolojiyi götürmek için ürettiğimiz bilim setleri bugün twin olarak dünyaya ilham veriyor. Ömer'in bahsettiği gibi İngiltere'de, Avrupa'da en iyi örnekler arasında gösteriliyor. 25 ülkeden 400 yatırımcıdan yatırım alıyor. 67 ülkede 750 bin çocuğa ulaşıyor. World Economic Forum tarafından da yılın teknoloji öncüsü seçiliyor. Şimdi o zamandan bu zamana bir zaman yolculuğu yaptığımda herhalde kendimdeki en büyük farkı artan özgüven olarak görüyorum. Çünkü kendime dair, ülkeme dair özgüvensiz bir haldeydim ben o koltuklarda otururken. Tüm bunları yapabileceğime inanamazdım. Sanki hep dışarıda birileri büyük başarıları imza atabilirmiş ya da ilkleri hayata geçirebilirmiş de o nedense ben olamazmışım gibi hissediyordum. Ve belki de bilim seferberliği bu yüzden beni çok etkiliyor. Çünkü o sahalara gittiğimizde kendine güveni olmayan çocukların sadece 45 dakika içerisinde kendi elleriyle bir otonom araba yapmaları ve bunu yaptıklarını gördüğünde artan özgüvenleri ve hemen ardından gelen o daha çok öğrenmeyle ilgili istekleri, hevesleri beni çok mutlu ediyor. Ben de o özgüven YGA'da sorumluluk aldıkça yıllar içerisinde yavaş yavaş gelişti ve hala da gelişmeye devam ediyor. YGA'daki mentorum bana şöyle söylemişti. Özgüvenli insan dışarıdan etkilenmez, dışarıyı etkiler. Bugün de hala en büyük çabam ve çapam bu. Dışarıdaki olumsuzlukların farkında olmak ama onlardan etkilenmemek. Hep birlikte hayata geçirdiğimiz, sizlerin de imza atacakları çift kanatlı teknolojilerin dünyaya örnek olduğunu bilerek cesaretle, özgüvenle çalışmaya devam etmek. Bugün hala en büyük çapam bu olması için çalışıyorum. Ve birazdan davet edeceğim kişinin de benim özgüvenimde, bizlerin özgüveninde payı çok büyük. Kendisi bir eğitimci, bir profesör. Dünyanın çok farklı yerlerinde, çok farklı kişilerle eğitim üzerine kafa yormuş. Kidzanya'yı bileniniz var mı? Kidzanya'ların global eğitim direktörü Graus'tan bahsediyorum. Kendisiyle ilk tanıştığımızda iki kelime onu çok etkiledi. Çift kanat, vicdan ve donanım. Şimdi o da çift kanadı kendi konuşmalarında kullanıyor. Dünyaya örnek bir konsept olarak tüm dünyaya çift kanadı anlatıyor. Yavaş yavaş davete geçebilirim. İzninizle şimdi İngilizce devam edeceğim. Türkçe takip etmek isteyen davetliler kulaklıklarını kullanabilirler. Ekran başında izleyenler de tercihlerini değiştirebilirler. Now, if he is ready, I want to invite Professor Graus. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you. What a comfortable couch. How very nice.
We've tested it before.
We did. We did.
So, Professor, we've been dreaming of this moment for a long time, haven't we?
We have.
This audience?
There he is.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, Professor is a true lover of Istanbul and Turkey. So we are so happy to host you here in Istanbul physically.
I'm so delighted to be here. I much prefer Istanbul and your company to any other place in the world, really. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome again. So, Professor, let's start with introducing you to the audience here. Can you tell us about your story? So, what made Graus Graus?
People. I can tell you all sorts of stories about what I do and what I do for a living and what my job is and how I started and that I was a teacher and became an inspector and a director and all those things. But those things don't really matter because I think we ask the wrong question. And you will be asked the wrong question. And the wrong question is, what do you want to do when you grow up? It is the wrong question. The question should be, who do you want to be? when you grow up, because the question about who is a question about values. So the question about how did I become me, and that journey doesn't stop, by the way. The journey goes on. The journey is about people, and people from my grandfather, who is up there, who I was the apple of his eye, and he was my favorite adult in my youth. I learned things from him. I learned reflecting, I learned social mobility from my grandfather. My grandfather was a coal miner in the south of the Netherlands. Coal miners worked very hard, and the conditions they worked in were not good. And so my grandfather said to me when I was 9, my grandfather said to me, "Promise me you will always do your best at school." He didn't say, "Promise me you'll get top grades." "Promise me you will always do your best at school." And when I asked him why, his answer was, "Because I don't want you to get hands like mine," because he had arthritis. And that, in a sense, was the first step. And then I met a teacher who cared for me, and I became a teacher because of that teacher. And during my life, I've met my wife, I've met my children, and all those people influence who you become if you let them. And now I'm very lucky because I've met people like Asude and Okan and Jihan and the entire Twin team and many YGA people. And today I met Metahan. Is he there somewhere? Give us a wave. There he is. And I met Jasmine. Is Jasmine somewhere? Has she gone home or fallen asleep? Is she still here? So I met loads of you.
She's there, Professor.
Hey. and I met loads of you, and that impact. So the question about who are you, I think the answer is I am still becoming who I am, and thank you for helping me on that journey, including you, of course, and your wonderful colleagues.
Yeah. So, Professor, I think we should be grateful for our past and for our role models, because we are here thanks to them, because they enabled us to discover our potential, like your grandfather. Maybe we can send our greetings to him from here.
That would be amazing. And I think there's something very important to realize. We are all role models. Role model is not some big superhero thing with a t-shirt with a big red S on. Role model is you are role models. You are the next generation of people where younger people will look up to you and they will copy your behavior. They will buy into your values. And this is your collective responsibility as Turkish leaders of tomorrow. And enjoy that responsibility, because it is a privilege to have it.
That's true. And now I want to shift the conversation from towards the education. And we talk a lot about EdTech, education technologies. And often the technology side is overvalued and the education side is undervalued. And we, as Didem showed, AI is limitless and the possibilities of technology are truly exciting. But where should the education be part in that picture?
I think it's an interesting one, technology. I think we need to look at technology through a different lens, because we kid ourselves and other people kid us, right? I go, like you, I travel all over the world, and I see that lots of people think that technology is the answer to our problems. I promise you, it is not. You are the answer to our problems, and the answer then contains how we use that technology for good that will help us solve those problems quicker, better, more efficiently, whatever. And there's a lot of talk about EdTech, education technology, EdTech. I think there is too much tech and not enough ed. If I had the choice between the technology and a brilliant teacher, I'll have the brilliant teacher any time of any day. So technology is a tool. And I think the other thing I'd like to just say about technology and you, there are expectations of you and technology because you are generation Z or A or B or C or 1, 2, 3, whatever you are. Don't let them put you in a box. You are Generation U, and you will use that technology for your good and for the good of everybody else. There is something else about technology, and particularly the internet. I think that the internet is the greatest invention of mankind. Singularly the most important invention ever. It is now up to us to use it in a democratizing way, and we need to understand that, for example, during the pandemic, in the 6th richest economy in the world, the United Kingdom, there were schools where nearly 40% of children don't have internet access at home. So before we talk about technology, we need to talk about enabling technology and the power. And we need to do that collectively with business, with government, but also with you. Because otherwise, the difference between have and have not, and between can and cannot, will always get greater. And then, technology for what? If we don't use it to achieve equity and equality, then it serves no purpose at all. So, it's up to you. Everything is up to you.
And last week I was at the European Education Summit in Brussels, and the main highlight, Professor, the main emphasis was on the skill gap of teachers.
Yes.
And I think YGA's Role Model Teachers program is a very good example of this, to upskill the teachers. We have role model teachers today among us.
I think teachers are such important people, but also Metahan and Jasmine and all the other people, you are teachers too. My 17-year-old daughter is a teacher. She could teach younger children about technology much better than I can. So we need to ask ourselves the question, in this evolution, revolution, a little bit of both, who are the teachers? And we all have a role to play in that, certainly when it comes to technology, because I learned this expression last week from Desmond Tutu's daughter, I am a BBT, born before technology. So I need your help, right?
Professor, so when we come to YGA, you've been like supporting YGA and twin science since the first time that you heard. Yeah. And you are a firm believer of double wing philosophy, and you define twin science as the heart of science. Yeah. So why do you think it's important?
Why double winged is important?
Important, yeah.
Because I think the word and matters. A-N-D. We look at people and events and organizations and causes in a single dimensional way. And I think we need to look at it in more than one way. So the word and. So the slide I've put up behind me, which is a quote from Alex Beard, which effectively says that I am both Willy Wonka and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, just like you are one and two. And if we begin to think of events and causes and organizations, and much more importantly, people, as double-winged, what we're actually saying is there are two elements to you that are really important. There may be more, but there are two key elements. And those key elements, I think, are easiest and simplest defined as you have a head and you have a heart. And if you are a person who either has a head or a heart, you can't function. So in simple terms, because sometimes we use very big words, don't we? Very big abstract concepts like double-winged. It's actually very simple. It is to, in equal measure, appropriately use your head and your heart. And twin science is an absolute classic example of the heart sometimes even being bigger in the science than the head is. And it is as simple as that, and it is singularly so important. If from today, I believe, you take back nothing else but the word and you look at the person next to you now, if Okan at the front looks at Metahan and you look at each other, try to think of people and events positively with the word and and describe them in two ways. One that concerns the head and one that concerns the heart. And I promise you, the world will become a better place than it is now.
And it can be like good impact, right? Because not just impact, but good impact.
It has
also.
to be good. It has to be good impact. We have this thing, and I think some of that sits in social media, some of that sits in media. The emphasis is far too often on the negative. When I talk about impact, I mean positive impact. The rest, I'm not interested in. I'm not worth bothering with. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. It's about making the difference that we can. And I think the double-wingedness, the and, allows us to do that.
Yeah, a few years ago, when Kürşat gave an interview on CNN, the reporter defined VWalk as a positive technology. Not just technology, but positive technology. So I think the difference should be on this, like not just impact, but good impact. We should add this adjective into our business, into our projects.
It is the difference we make, the positive difference we make.
And Professor, I'm coming to my last questions. It's very important to give this approach, good impact or double wing philosophy, from early childhood. Yes. And you always say, children can only aspire to what they know exists. So how can we enhance children's aspirations?
You almost take me back. Technology. Who said something about technology? Can we have the next slide? Is that possible from somewhere? Yeah, while they're doing that, I'll talk, right? We'll see whether we can get it to work. Why we need to talk about younger children is two reasons, I think. One is because we don't, in our head, in our boxes, we think that younger children are not capable of learning. You know, you're only seriously capable of learning when you're older. And that's nonsense. We know from research and research that I've been involved in that that's not true. And I've shared that research with you, and it is widely available. But also, it goes back to that first question about role models. Right? If we want the world to look in a certain place, and we want it to be positive, then we need to lead by example. So I'll give you a very simple example in 1 minute. If you go to my wife's school, which is in a disadvantaged part of the United Kingdom, very disadvantaged part of the United Kingdom, you will see the children in the school behaving positively, with courtesy, with a willingness to learn. They are aspirational. The reason they are that is not because somebody read them a story. The reason they are that is because everybody in the school has modeled that behavior. And the same applies to aspirations. Right? If we say in our boxed world, because you come from a certain part of Turkey, you can't do certain things, then the problem is with us. So it is about that leading by example for positive impact. And that, again, is our responsibility. It is the role modeling thing is singularly the most important thing that we can do to other people's lives.
So I think the time is up, but I want to ask my last question, Professor. So how do you see the future of education?
There is a slide that I'd like you to see. There's a little video that will play in the background. Can we have that?
Yeah, we have.
There it goes. So that was very short. They'll try and do it again. The future of education is to recognize that there is a difference between schooling, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5, 195 days per year, and education. And that schooling contributes to the wider education of the individual and of the collective. And that can only be achieved successfully if it is done by the head and the heart. Because if you think about it, if it's just about schooling and you're just doing it with the head, you learn for your tests, you are one-winged. One-winged birds fly in circles. right? And if you only try and do it from the heart, incidentally, you have the same problem. So I think the future of education, and by implication the future of schooling, is what we call double-winged.
I know the time is up, but I want to ask one last question, and it will be the spontaneous one. What happened to your teeth just before the panel?
So I think, you know, I love coming to Turkey. I think I was having lunch and I was having a delicious wrap and my tooth fell out. And within half an hour it was fixed because...
How come?
Because of, actually because of kindness, right? Because somebody wanted to help. Okan wanted to help. And then Okan talked to a friend, and the friend also wants to help, and the friend rings a dentist, and the dentist also wants to help, and literally within half an hour, I'm sitting in the dentist's chair, I'm having my teeth fixed, and then the dentist says, it's a pleasure for you to be here, you don't even have to pay. So...
And this is what we call crisis management.
Well, I think that's what I call double wing, but thank you for it, right?
So I think it's the end. Thank you, Professor. Thank you
My
for
pleasure.
your inspiring talk. I think you always inspire for good. And he's here. Please, in the breaks, just go to Professor Graus and talk to him. He is like in here just for you, even although the accident, he wants to talk to you. So thank you, Professor.
Thank you.